All right. I think we'll go ahead and kick this off, get the party started. And that's what Bill and I kind of do have a lot of fun when we talk. So welcome to our party. So we are starting today on the topic of comms campaigns. How do you build these and how do you do it successfully? And in particular, we're going to really dive into a campaign with Lexicon. I'm Toby Anderson. I'm the head of customer experience at SpeakApp, and I get the pleasure of working with folks like Bill to launch their employee experience platforms and ultimately help make sure they're successful. So Bill, why don't you introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Thanks, Toby. Great to be here, and Annette backstage. She's helping us along. I'm Bill Fitzgerald. I'm Vice President for Marketing and Communications at Lexicon. We are a steel fabrication and construction company based in Little Rock, Arkansas. We have about 3,400 employees at dispersed work sites across the country. I think we're in 13 states right now at about 30 different project sites, construction or maintenance sites.
Amazing. So I think, our talk today is very specific. You're going to hear a lot about impacts and situation in the construction industry. I think one thing I would suggest you watch for throughout our chat today is opportunities where your organization could take advantage of some of the learnings and practices from Lexicon, even if your industry isn't the same, or even if your campaign isn't about the same topic. So just kind of plant that seed with you because I think there's a lot to take away. And then obviously, if you're in construction, it's even more applicable to you. Couple quick housekeeping notes. Please feel free as we go to add questions in the question section. We're going to do Q&A at the end, as noted in the chat. But I know how it is. Sometimes you have the question, just pop it in there so we don't forget it. And we'll be running some polls throughout. Would love for you to participate in those as we post those polls. And with that said, we're going to jump in a little bit more. Bill gave us a quick kind of overview about Lexicon. I think one of the cool things about today is that Bill and the team have agreed to let us show you some of the assets and examples. And in particular, I'm going to show you a video that Bill shared that really helps you understand a little bit more about Lexicon, in particular their culture. So I'm going to just play this video for you quickly.
Something great never comes from nothing. In our case, it's our people.
The kind of people that build America every damn day.
Love that video, Bill. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Thanks for playing it. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it and I still get goosebumps. And it says coming soon because that was, it's the teaser for a brand video that we're working on right now. We shared that with our people about a month ago at an event where we honor employees who have been with the company 20 years. And this started with our founder about 30 years ago. We give those 20-year employees a check for $10,000. It says 10,000.00. We pay all the taxes. And that's something that Tom Schick, the founder of the company, started, and his son, Patrick Schick, who's the bald guy who says every damn day at the end, that he continues and really believes in. And I asked Toby to maybe include this because it is about the people. And I mean, that's it. It's about the people in a nutshell.
Yeah, and it's striking because one of the things that you do well at Lexicon is you really do put the thinking into the why, and you tie your culture into everything that you do, and you see that in your communication. So I thought that was really worth sharing. Let's just talk about why Lexicon dove in on mental health in particular, because I think again, that might not be what your organization is looking to focus on or solve for or support right now. But I think the point is that it's about finding something you need to do or a program you need to run. So if you could tell us just a bit more about what's going on around mental health.
Sure. Well, you see the statistics there. It's a very real issue for our industry and for a lot of industries. But I mean, I was shocked to hear that the suicide rate among construction is 4 times higher than the general population. And again, going back to Patrick Schick, our CEO, again, the bald guy, and I just want you to know, he's 6'7", he's bald, and he talks like this. And he's worn the hard hat. He's been out there with the steel-toed boots. He's come up, on the job sites. And so he sees he's lived that hard life. And construction is a really hard life. It's cold, it's hot, it's muddy, it's wet. And there's, you're away from your family for extended periods, and you work 12 and 14-hour days in the worst conditions possible. So all those physical challenges mount up and a lot of times manifest themselves in mental issues. And it's, the industry is overwhelmingly male, like you see there, very rough, very macho. They don't talk about their feelings a lot. And so that was a big challenge. We know we have to do something about it. And again, it goes back to the people, our senior management. I mean, they just bleed for our people. They really try to do right by our people in everything we do. So that's kind of where this started from. So I'm borrowing from Janelle Schmidt is our Chief Human Resources Officer. From her slides, she has given this presentation before. And the real spark started about 2 years ago when she started here. And in her first week, her first sit down with our CEO, she said, what's the number one issue that keeps you up at night? And he said, it's the mental health of our people because of all those conditions that I just told you about. That's what keeps them awake. And it really does keep them awake. And he was very honest about his own mental health struggles. And, it was like, if it affects me, it affects a lot of other people too. So that's kind of where it began. Yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love that example because it was born of a real regular conversation between a new employee who happened to be the head of people.
Mm-hmm.
But it raised an issue that was of importance, and it really was the spark that began a campaign. So I think what's pretty cool about the approach I've heard you take is it wasn't like, okay, just HR or, all right, Bill, we have a comms thing that needs to happen. It was we have a business situation, a people problem, and we need to work on it together. So we'd love to hear a little bit about, I know I'm kind of showing a framework here, but love to hear the story about what happened next after that conversation.
Sure. Well, we kind of looked at, again, just how we do work. We do work in construction sites all across the country. Again, very dispersed workforce. There were some policies that kind of got in the way of getting this conversation started. Luckily, and Janelle is a woman. She's she's our second woman executive, and she's obviously the first CHRO. She came from a similar industry, but not quite as heavy construction as us. So she helped to pave the way as far as making it policy wise okay to get help. We had to have the infrastructure to deliver on that. Came up with some partners and some advocates within the company, partners outside and inside. This goes through to, like, she orchestrated a change in our EAP, our employee assistance plan or program vendor. We got a whole lot better vendor. I'm not going to jump to results, but we've seen definitely results there. You know, and you know, like Toby said, it started with at the top with our CEO, and we enlisted HR heavily, our training people, our benefits people, the marketing communications team obviously came in to strategize and deploy this campaign or a campaign. Safety, because it's and in construction, as you might imagine, there's a huge safety force and a huge attention to safety. There's a whole lot of ways to get hurt on a construction site. So those people were instrumental in spreading the word and saying this is a safety issue. You can't let what's going on in your head, you know, enable you to lose a hand or something like that. So
yeah, because I think that I've seen data that shows that incidents of safety incidents are higher when people report higher issues with mental health. So
of course,
there's a direct correlation. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. So then it really formulated. So you really got together as a committee, right? Like there were so Janelle did a lot of this foundational work, and then a committee got formed.
We did, and just so you know, for context, this started in August. Well, the first campaign was August of 2024. We just finished our second campaign this year, and we have some learnings from that. But yes, we formed a committee from across all our sites. We met regularly via Teams and kind of developed a plan to execute. And you can see some of the under the conversation there, some of the channels that we chose. You'll hear us talk about Lexicon. That's our Speak app. That's our internal communications platform, which is invaluable. So glad we have that. I was one other. I got a million Patrick stories, but when our first leadership group got together, when I first started about 5 years ago, it was the first time, and we have several different companies and divisions. And the first time all of them were in the same room, and Patrick said, "We need an app." I was like, "Well, what kind of app? What are you talking about?" And the nut of it really was that we got to improve communication with our people in the field. So long story short, we ended up with Speak app, and we have branded it as Lexicon. So it's been amazing. Again, 3,000 to 3,400 dispersed employees, and Lexicon has the broadest reach to those people of any other method of communication that we have available to us right now. So,
yeah, and I think what's cool about this post that we're showing here is that, and this is really where indeed a lot of the campaign lived. We're going to show you some other things, but this is where the campaign primarily lived in that first go around August 2024, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. So by the way, aligning with things that are commonly out there, not a bad idea, right? To get that because people are going to see other information about mental health awareness in that month. But there's a few things being highlighted here, which is this is the desktop view. Folks can download the app. Most of the craft or the frontline workers are using an app directly, but they can access documents, links to things. But the key thing that really happened was a lot of conversation. So what's highlighted here is why I made it big, just so you could see it a little better, is this is a post from, I believe, a field leader, right, Bill?
Right. He's a site manager. He wears a hard hat and steel-toed boots every day, works 10, 12 hours a day, rough and tumble kind of guy, great guy. I got to video interview him. It was one of my first interviews. And just talking to him out in the field, the guys respect him. I mean, he's literally got his scars from this industry, but people listen to him. And when he posted this, I was kind of surprised, but it's very genuine. It's very authentic. And again, he is a company leader, so people, take it really, for what it is. It's a very genuine, authentic feeling and communication.
Yeah, and I just think, this was obviously a Thanksgiving post. This came after the campaign, but I think it speaks to how it opened up. Like you said, you had to make a space to open these conversations, and it just shows that it did happen, which
Right.
is a great example. And then we've, again, just want to show you a few. I know people love to see what other people are doing. So this shows a few of the the posts that went out in the campaign itself, but can you just talk a little bit about some of the resources that were shared during the campaign?
Sure. We had, recurring, Mindful Monday. We had that, Mental Health Awareness Month banner overarching. This first year, so there was some structure. We had specific areas of mental health that we wanted to take on, but these came from thought leaders within the company, whether it was our benefits manager or we have an on-site APRN, Dr. Monica, or, I took some of them too. But they were really practical tips on things you can do to, help yourself, help recognize issues, just take a time out and reset. So it was very usable content. Easy to swallow. We did some giveaways to incent people engaging with it. We had some little Easter eggs that if they read that and responded appropriately, they would be put into a drawing, and those were really popular. And again, I'm wearing a t-shirt, one of the t-shirts that we gave away.
Yes,
We
love it.
we gave a lot of hats. We gave some cool Yeti water bottles, hard hat industry, obviously,
Love the
stickers.
stickers. Yeah.
It's little things like that to people out in the field. It just says, "Hey, I see you. I know you're out there, and here's a little something for you." It's not much, and they really do appreciate it. Just, stuff like that. So I wouldn't underestimate the value of little things like that.
Absolutely. And I think, we could sit here and look at specific examples for the whole hour, but I wanted to call out two sort of key aspects of the campaign that really made this successful. So, breaking the silence one post at a time. Indeed, I think, again, if you think about, okay, maybe you're not trying to do mental health campaign, but like, what could you learn that you could take away from this? I think there was a very clear leadership participation piece. So it's one thing for a leader to say, yeah, let's do this, and then you never hear from them again. That's not uncommon, but that's not the case in this campaign. And we'll dive into some examples. But the other one was really, again, reaching people where they are. So making sure people have the app, because that is where a lot of it lived. But beyond that, visual reminders, the giveaways, and so forth. So let's just dive a little bit more into some examples around the leadership authenticity, because this is something that it's clear it made a difference. And I think hearing from you about, some examples, we're going to show a post. This is a post. If you could talk us through what happened with this post.
Sure. So as you see on that left-hand side, we would count down the days through the campaign. Strongest Steel Day 13. There's a quote. There's some statistics about positive self-talk, and then it's kind of a thought starter. Ask yourself: am I encouraging or discouraging myself? Would I speak this way to somebody else? And so I think you're gonna go to the next slide. So our CEO jumps in and says, I wouldn't talk that way to anybody. I got to get better at that. Today's message is on point. So, and this is not isolated. He engaged not daily, but pretty darn often. I was really impressed with that. And he has a lot of respect, carries a lot of weight, obviously, in the company. People respond to that. So it is, again, very, very genuine, very engaged, and it's very democratic. It's all over the organization.
Yeah, and you can see other people responded as well. And I think one of the things I noticed throughout, especially your first campaign, was that just grew, right? And it's both. I think leaders can be anyone. So obviously there is hierarchical leadership that's participating. That's huge. But it was also notable that you had other people within the organization that were speaking up, sharing stories, and that there is this explicit permission you get when your boss or your boss's boss or everyone's boss participates. You just can't replace that. That's really valuable.
Right. And just one more side story about that. We have every Monday morning, we have a sales meeting with about 25 of our division and sales leads, and Patrick's on the call too. And this Monday morning, at the end of it, they always, end with him and say, Patrick, you want to wrap us up? And he said, I just got back from my Mayo Health Clinic annual executive health management checkup thing. He's a 3-time cancer survivor, by the way. He's
Oh, wow.
really an inspirational leader. And he said, he had some tips. He said, listen, guys, we're getting close to the holidays. He said, if your brain is just getting locked up, stop, get away from your desk, walk around. He gave 3 very, very solid tips of what to do when your mental health is kind of flagging. And it's very, these are the top leaders in the company. And he's saying, you guys got to do this. Y'all got to take time for yourselves. You have permission to take care of yourself. And I can't understate how important that is.
Yeah, that's amazing. Great stories. So speaking of stories, again, this is an example of a video that we want to share. And I feel very privileged that we're allowed to share this story because it is very vulnerable. I think maybe, Bill, should I just go ahead and play it and then we can talk about it? You want to maybe set up the
yes, and we'd gone in to shoot Patrick about something else, something totally unrelated, and he said, I got something to say. He said, keep the camera rolling. I said, okay. So he recorded this. It was meant to be something totally different.
All right, here we go.
Hey guys, I just wanted to reach out for a second. It's been a long month. August is always hard. It's hot, long days. We're busy here at the home office as well. We've had a really good month trying to get the word out about mental health, but unfortunately, we lost one of our family members who decided to take his own life. This has affected me deeply. About 2 weeks ago, I had a long conversation with my wife, and she pointed out that I wasn't being myself, probably drinking a little too much. And so I went and saw a mental health professional a couple of weeks ago. It made a huge difference. I know we're all going through stuff, every one of us. Take the time to listen. Without your mental health, your physical health means nothing. It's very important to me and everybody in this office, for everybody who listens to this, to understand that you're cared for. We care about you. We want to make sure that everybody within Lexicon knows what's available to them and to take their mental health seriously.
Yeah, it gets me every time. It's speaks for itself. Like it's so heartfelt, and would love to hear, I guess, Bill, what was the impact of this video? What did you hear or what did you see?
Well, I mean, it's telling Toby earlier, I'm a marketer, and I like to, measure stuff, what gets measured gets done. And I think that had some of the highest engagement of the campaign. I don't give a shit about that. That's not what really counts.
Right.
Yeah. What counts is that he opened himself up to that. The company opens ourselves up to that. We mobilized a team to go to that work site and take care of those people who worked with that man who took his life. And it's just you gotta be vulnerable. You gotta be willing to be vulnerable. Even if you wear steel-toed boots, and and also have a plan. I mean, and this, the practical side of it is that, hey, if you're struggling, there are resources to help. Also, if you see somebody struggling, don't just stand back, say something, listen. So, yeah.
Yeah. And again, it just underscores you walk the talk when it comes to what this campaign is all about. Horrible situation, but action immediately following, right? And support and resources given. And I think, we don't have it queued up here, but I know somebody approached you about wanting to post their own story.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So people have been, so this is year two, this is this year. And, we made some changes, a little slightly different, but again, people, there were posts and people responded, people engaged, and they shared their own stories. One man called me and said, "Hey, I lost my son to suicide a couple of years ago." And he said, and I speak to groups about this because I've worked through it. He said, "I'd really like to share this." And he said, I wanted to reach out with you and see if that was okay. And I was like, Mario, oh, yes, it's okay. I've had calls where people say, I got this thing, I just want you to post it. I'm like, no, you need to post it because it's your material, it's your content, it's your thought. And I said, Mario, this is you, this is your story. I said, if you are comfortable with it, absolutely, I encourage you to share it on Lexicon, on our platform. And he did, and the people around him just responded so positively to that. And again, he's experienced the loss. He's had some years to work through it, and he's turned it into something positive. He reaches out to people and helps people, and it was just amazing to talk to him. And he's come to the home office since then, and I got to interview him on something else, and he's just a really fine person. And and everybody's most likely experienced the suicide of somebody near them. It's just hard. It's just really hard. And in this industry, it's very, very real.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving forward into the second sort of success element here that we really saw was the reach. So we've already talked about Lexicon has been the main megaphone, the main platform, but really you did things beyond that. And I think both in year one and year two. So again, we have a few examples to show here, but tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah. We tried to make it, because if you don't see it, you're just not aware of it. We try to make it omnipresent everywhere. So we had banners everywhere. Again, this hard hat stickers, it's a little thing, but people really respond to that. The t-shirts, we did giveaways. This year, there's some of the giveaways from this year. We had, goodie baskets with, coolers and hats and t-shirts and the Yeti mugs and all that. The way we did it this year, our in-house medical care team, Dr. Monica, she posted some videos, one a week, on these 4 different theme areas. And within those was a little prompt. And it was like, if you watch this far, say something or engage in a certain way. So all the people who did that were, kind of put into a hat for a drawing. And at the end, we gave away that Rugged Road cooler there in that third photo, which is about a $300 cooler. And it's a really cool toy. So we got a lot of engagement that way.
Yeah, and again, reaching people physically with the, hey, where did you get that T-shirt? Where that, so if they weren't on the app, if they didn't see it. Also, in the second year, you had some digital. Actually, maybe I'm skipping ahead. I'll hold that 1 second. Let's talk about. So again, we kind of left this 4th box of nurture, and we showed this framework, right? Because the story started with a conversation. It became a committee. You created a framework that took you through the August 1st campaign. Talk to us about what's happened since. What's the nurture piece look like?
Sure. Just backing up just a second. You said not everybody's on the app. That's really important. I mean, we've got pretty good penetration, just under 70%, 60 to 70% of our workforce, but that's still not everybody. So it was important to get those other physical manifestations of the campaign out there. So what's next? We've taken a look at it. Engagement trailed off just a little bit this year, and we want to change the focus just a little bit. I think it's, again, Patrick is such a great and impactful leader, but and we had videos from him and from Janelle, our CHRO this year. I think next year we're going to kind of start in the middle. So some of those, like the Jason DeRuses that you read that campaign, we're going to start there and push the messages out a little bit more from those kind of people, just to start a little closer to the grassroots. What we've learned, again, I mentioned our EAP, the old EAP, I think they had like 1 call in the previous year. When we changed and we publicized it and we made it part of this campaign, we got dozens of calls. So people are taking advantage of the resource. So again, measure it. A big deal is to train mental health first responders among our workforce. And they expected, I don't have the numbers, but it blew up. I mean, they were expecting, maybe a dozen people across the company would be interested. We had dozens. We had, maybe close to 100 people who wanted to get trained to be first responder. And the first responders, they listen. They look for people who they think might be having some trouble, and they listen. Not unlike a medical first responder, but it's a mental health first responder. Train leaders to recognize, you're not okay right now. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You got to start the conversation, and it's construction. So they do toolbox talks every morning, typically talk about they'll include safety. That's a big part of it. And then, the day's challenges, as far as getting the job done, but making mental health a big part of that. Just like I said with, Patrick on our morning sales call, throwing that out. Excuse me. Managing the culture, again, looking at those barriers, what's keeping you from getting that message out there? Or, if the message is out there, how can people take advantage of the resources that you offer? We're working on a better SharePoint system where we can log or house information. Lexicon, obviously, like Toby showed you, is a housing for a lot of really good resources too. And then partnerships, we've talked to different. I've learned that crisis lines, while there's that one national crisis line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've learned that those are actually all, even though there's one national number, they're answered locally. So we've pioneered those reach outs in our different market areas to get some partnerships going with them and get some resources through them, because they do have a lot of resources too.
Nice.
That's
Yeah, it keeps it going. I think we've talked about a little bit of things happening in year 1 and year 2, but I just wanted to highlight a few things that I saw from my perspective that came a little bit different. We had worked together to implement an integration between Lexicon and your digital signage solution.
Yes.
You use digital signs as just one more way to reach people, so you could message directly through it or have posts go from Lexicon.
And that's
Yeah,
I mean, and digital signage, if you don't know, that's the TV monitors that you see in a doctor's office. That's basically it. So we have monitors at different places. We have 30 or 40 of them around, and it's a way to promote content from the campaign, but also to promote sign up for Lexicon if you haven't already signed up for the app. So kind of a win-win there.
Yeah, and I think you had like a digital flyer for the Strong as Steel campaign this year that actually it was a moving, it didn't
Correct.
have any audio, but just a digital catch people's eye, got them interested. So again, catch people where they are.
Yep.
And then, again, some more post examples. I think you've hit on a few things you changed, coming into the second year. Anything else you would want to highlight there?
I think we organized the content a little better this year. We looked at stress and family life, alcohol use, not abuse, or alcohol and substance use. I'm not going to remember all 4 of the areas, but we organized it week by week, and those are the topics that Dr. Monica did videos on. She's a resource, and she's on site here in Little Rock, but she flies to different locations and she does telehealth. So she and Kanisha, our nurse, have a really high profile in the company, and they just really good rapport with the field workers out there. So she was a really good resource and partner to have.
Nice. And then I did notice you did a few teaser videos this time. I think that was new. I'll queue up one of them here if you want to tell us a little bit about what was the thinking there.
Yeah. Let's see.
So I think the teaser videos kind of came out actually right before, it was like the end of July. So they were in advance, whereas I think in the first year you just started on the first day.
You're right. And again, this is something that the committee kind of came up with. We didn't want to just kind of drop it from August 1st to August 31st. We wanted to, again, kind of tease people, let them know it's coming. And again, going back to the culture, it's all about the people. So it's all about the faces of the people at Lexicon, and it's just kind of a little feel good sizzle piece.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at it.
We are investing in mental health because I feel it to be the single most important aspect of construction these days.
This campaign is about something vital, the strength of your mind, your heart.
We want Strong as Steel to remind you that you are not alone. Asking for help is not a weakness.
Mental health struggles, they don't clock in and they don't clock out. And that's why this campaign matters.
So you saw Patrick, you saw Janelle, our CHRO, you saw Brandy, who's our benefits manager. You saw Dr. Monica, who gives the talks. Trying to think if there are other speakers there.
And then for sure, all sorts of Lexicon folks, right? Like those were real.
Oh yeah, those are all, all employees.
Yeah. Very cool. I love that. I think building excitement right before the campaign starts is really smart.
Yeah.
So I think measurement's something you've brought up a couple times here. So I think it's been a very hot topic lately, right? So how do you measure the success, especially internal comms or communications campaigns? Yes, you can look at the data, the quantitative data. Thank you. But we've got a little bit of both here. So talk to us about, what you heard, and we've got some quotes here, but how did you all measure?
Yeah, it's like I said, engagement statistically went up and then it kind of trailed off. But knowing that people are talking, that they're having the conversations, that they're not afraid to say, you know what, I'm having a bad day. I don't want it to get worse. And somebody else saying, hey, talk to me, or let's figure this out. And we get that a lot. I mean, not just through comments, but we get it in person, and I see it, out in the shop and in the field, in the office, all of that. And you can just tell it's picking up. And again, when somebody like a Patrick says, I went to see a mental health counselor because I was not right and I needed it. That's huge. That gives people permission, to take the time and do it. And Dr. Monica, just FYI, our clinic, our workers don't clock out to go see her. We want them to take care of themselves. So
yeah, that's also, I think, a very unique Lexicon service you provide. But yeah, these were quotes specifically to people ask, I believe this actually was on a post that said something about wrapping it up, and then all these people commented. So it was great to see this feedback. And then here's an example of some of the types of data that we saw a week over week during the time. It obviously spiked and kept increasing during the August campaign, which was great to see. But
and again, I want to see those numbers go up, but that's not the only measure of success by any means. The fact that we lost a worker to suicide this year doesn't mean this was a failure by any means. I think that event, as dramatic and traumatic as it was, really, again, brought out the spotlight and showed people this is going on, and it's serious, and you need to pay attention.
Yeah, and I've heard you say it before, and I've seen it. What is the cost of a life? And so you've helped clearly multiple people by way of their participation and what they've said, but it's almost invaluable and immeasurable. Yeah. All right, we'll hit a couple quick takeaways before we take Q&A. So just would like to ask, again, thinking about anybody attending who's just looking at takeaways from a comms perspective, programmatic perspective. I'm interested to hear, if you look back, is there anything, that you wouldn't do again, or anything you do plan to do differently next year?
Well, like I said, I don't think it's wrong to start from the top down, but I think we're going to get a little more traction starting kind of in the middle, like I said, with those leaders who are on the shop floor, who are on the construction sites. It's going to present some more challenges just logistically and gathering that content, but we will invest in that. Absolutely. That's really important. I know we will continue to have support at the highest level, at the executive level. There's no question of that. I've seen more other companies, including in the construction industry, talking about mental health now since we've been doing it for 2 years. I mean, not that we started it, but it is definitely a more top of mind, and again, giving people permission to do that, even in these rough, macho, construction sites. It's a real thing, and I think it's also on the national stage. You're seeing it more too.
Yeah.
Because we live in crazy times, right?
Absolutely. Well, I've noticed it's something that since we've been working together, you have really looked at and considered and actioned the idea of expanding permissions even within your platform, right? These tools, these communication tools are often, and Speak Up in particular it can be permissioned very granularly. So the general worker can do almost no posting to all the way towards totally open. And I've seen you shift to be more open, which again just shows your culture. And when you say people first, like, you really do take the steps and you try things, even in an industry that tends to be pretty risk averse, right?
Correct. And not all that innovative, really. Although we're innovating in a lot of.
I was going to say, yeah. The funny thing is, with your robotics and AI, you guys are really innovative, actually.
Absolutely. But in this platform, it's what we started 4 years ago, and we had the permissions kind of clamped down, and we did a phased rollout, with one division, and people were a little nervous about it, and again, why are we doing it at all? It's to improve and increase communication. So gradually we opened it up, and are getting more engagement, more activations, all that kind of thing. But it's a risk. I mean, back when I was in advertising, I was in advertising agencies for a long time, and it worked on tourism accounts, and they said, oh, if we have a Facebook post, people can make negative comments. I'm like, well, yeah, that may happen.
Yeah,
but
and guess what? It probably happens at the job site.
Yeah.
So,
And unfortunately, 99% of them are positive, or 99.9, and you don't have to worry about that 0.1%. So.
Yeah, right. I love what you've said.
It's taking a risk.
Yeah, and it's been a common theme about, like, we're nervous to start, so try things. Start with very limited, keep it controlled, and then try things. And I think that's something that y'all have done really well.
We've tried. Sure. We have some ground to cover, but Toby's helping us. Toby and Annette are helping us.
Always working on it. Amazing. All right. Well, I know we've had some polls along the way. If folks have answered those, great. I will say, I think actually Shay posted a question you maybe just answered, which was, how long had Speak Up been deployed across the company before this campaign was launched? So 2024 was the first campaign. I was trying to look it up to see the exact date. It's like 4-ish years, right?
Yeah, I started in 2021, and it was either late 21 or early 22.
Yeah, so getting on 4 years. So 2 years in.
My company's not afraid to spend the money on the right thing, but they analyze and analyze. So it took us a long time. Some of our executives saw the platform demonstrated by another construction company at a conference. I think it was an HR conference, and they thought, oh, this is kind of cool. And they're using it. It's a much smaller company. So we started the initial talks and negotiations, and it was, gosh, 6 months or so before we sign the contract and activate it and all. But I can't imagine a life without it now. So.
Oh, yes. Well, we've enjoyed our partnership with you, that's for sure. Would like to open it up if there are any other questions. You can add them in questions or chat.
Do I need to do anything here? I was going to say,
No, I was just like letting the audience see if they were
Okay.
going to cue in with anything more. But yeah, any other thoughts you want to share, Bill?
Well, I was going to say, we as a company in an industry that's not known for innovation, we have been an innovator. We are really the world leader in robotic fitting and welding. We have 4 robotic fitting and welding lines, and 2 of those are expanding dramatically. We are big into AI right now and across the company. When we put in the robot lines, executive management made the decision. We got a lot of calls from our competitors. We let them come check it out. So we shared, our knowledge with them. It's kind of what we're doing here. I'm glad to share what I can with anybody here. If you want to message me offline or whatever, I'm certainly open to that too.
Thanks, Bill. That's amazing. Really appreciate that. We do have one more question here. I'd like to know a little bit more about the toolbox talks and how Lexicon is used in the field. Do they have foreman iPads, for example? So 2 questions really.
What was the last thing you said?
So the first one is so a little bit more about toolbox talks, but then how Lexicon is used in the field. Are there iPads?
Sure. Well, it's up. We can't, to my chagrin, we can't make people get the app or download it or sign on and activate. We finally have gotten to the point where, in our onboarding, we say, this is how we communicate internally, and we leave it to them to, to sign up. Toolbox talks happen every day. Like I said, first topic is always safety. Second, maybe, whatever issues or, vendor issues or whatever, just about the work itself. But we've incorporated some of the mental health points into the safety talks because it is a safety issue. Those are typically by a crew chief. Site manager might have, like, we've got one site with 1,000 employees right now. There are actually 2 site managers, so that's a whole lot of smaller toolbox talks with different crew chiefs. There might be a crane beam crew chief. There might be a melt house crew chief. There might be, a bag house. So there are different crews and different toolbox talks. But in general, they'll have a couple of those aspects, safety issues, objectives of the day. And we build the mental health tips into the safety part of it. As far as how people use it, typically it's on their own mobile phones, some tablets. Obviously I have it on my laptop at work. I have it, on my work phone too that I take out. I'm in the office more than I'm on a job site or out in the shop though. So
right. And do some of your foremen or leads get devices, company issued devices, or okay?
Yes. And they can, I want to do a better job of this, get them to encourage people to sign up. We've given them, QR codes, make it as easy as possible for them to sign up and activate. They got a job to do, and that's what, again, it's a hard job too. So that's their main priority, which I totally understand. But again, that culture, it's a slow, you're turning a ship. So, I mean, before I got here 5 years ago, there was no official communication function. So again, it's turning a ship. It's a slow, steady process, and we're getting people more on board with opening up those avenues of communication. So.
Yeah. Okay, we have, I think, probably one last question here. What's the one thing you wish every comms or HR leader understood before launching a campaign like this?
Before you launch a campaign like this, or just like a campaign?
Yeah, I mean, like this, a campaign like this, a pretty big undertaking. Like, it could be a different topic other than mental health, but a big campaign, a big problem you're working to solve.
I would say, let people do their jobs. The communicators know how to communicate if you've hired the right people. I'm building a small team here. I've used freelancers, but again, these are people who build steel mills and they build Cowboy Stadium. They don't think about social media all the time, or they don't think about communicating and being open and all that kind of thing. They want to hang steel, and I get that. But when it comes time to put out a campaign like this, or about open enrollment, I mean, whatever, fill in the blank, let the professionals do their job and get it out there and trust that it'll be done right. So that's
Yeah.
kind of my take from this organization.
Nice. Yeah. And I've seen, I mean, you talked about it in your committee structure. You had people from safety, you had people like, so they know their goals, they know their needs for communicating with craft. So let them do that in the way they need
Of
to.
course.
But the one other thing.
Yeah. And that's,
oh yeah, go ahead.
And that's very important too, to get all those different viewpoints. Just as an example, safety, and I keep talking about safety. We do a lot of social media. We show, a steel hanger up on a beam. We want to make damn sure that he's doing it safely and he's showing it the right way and the safe way. And that's why we include safety and reviewing all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm not the subject matter expert in, ironwork safety. So we have those resources and we take advantage of them.
No, I love that. That's great advice. Yeah. The only other thing I've observed that really seems to get a lot of attention is that allowing the celebration stories from the field, right? Like, hey, this crew had a stop work obligation type of thing, they caught an issue. Here's what happened. The story somebody else shares about a success of their team. Like those are the things I've seen more of. And I think that it speaks to, again, you've allowed people to talk, you've given them a voice, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And again, that's part of the culture of celebrating those things. That is a program within the safety team, and it's called Good Catch. And if you spot a potential hazard and raise your hand and it gets fixed, you get something. You get a t-shirt, hat, or whatever. Those people they get the best one of the year gets a $2,500 check, when all those other people get the $10,000 check. And we did that with two or three of those this year. So we celebrate those it's a little deal, and one of them this year it was like out of a movie. This is on one of our construction sites. A vendor, not us, a vendor parked a truck, kept it in neutral, didn't put on the brake. It started rolling down the hill towards a trench full of workers, and one of our guys jumped in and hit the brake and saved us.
Gosh.
And it was like out of a movie. And that was one of the $2,500 check winners right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to celebrate that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, amazing. Well, I think that's probably a good place to end it. Thank you, Bill, for the time,
Absolutely.
stories, all the work you put in with Lexicon, and thanks everybody who joined us today.
Thank y'all. And yeah, reach out if you have something.
Awesome. Thanks, Bill. Thanks everyone for joining.
Bye.
Take care.